I don't play fair. I exploit the rules.
Stop dating men.
You just have to be fucking crazy.
Okay, that's exactly why I wanted to make this video. I've been watching all these clips from successful women, and they say the most unhinged things. At first, I thought they were all just saying unhinged things. But the more I watched, the more I realized they're actually all describing the same behavior, just in different words.
I did a lot of really clever tricks to grow my business fast that usually when I tell people about, they think are absolutely genius and they go ahead and do the same thing. So I thought I'd make a little list up today of weird, unhinged things that I did to just spike the growth of my business because I was sick of it not growing. Okay, so the first one I did, I think, a couple months into business when I realized that I was being treated differently by people because I was a young woman in business. And it was to make a fake team member. So I literally made a new email under my boyfriend's name and I would liaise with people with that email. I would chase late payments. I would always get paid faster when I used the man's email.
Yeah, play the system that plays you. It really does suck that she even had to think of this in the first place. But if that's the reality she's working in, I get why she did it. It says a lot that a man following up aggressively gets called professional, and a woman doing the exact same thing gets called difficult. So she found where the bias was, and she just worked around it.
And I also just think it made the business look a little bit more established at the time. And the best part of that story is that Matt now works for me and is our ops manager. So I don't have to use a fake email for him anymore.
That part actually got me. She started by borrowing the perception of authority and eventually built a business where she didn't need to borrow it anymore. That's the first pattern I'm noticing. None of these women seem interested in complaining about the game. They just figure out how it works and adapt.
The second one, which is a little bit controversial, is I have always pushed myself way beyond my means, which sounds really scary and my accountant probably hates me for this. But I remember when we were a team of 3 full-time employees, I bought a huge office space, pushed me and it put pressure on me to fill that office space. And within a year, it was full of team members.
Okay, that's definitely risky. Whether it was calculated or not, she deliberately created pressure for herself. She didn't wait until it felt comfortable to grow into the space. She just made growing the only option.
The next thing I did, which I love telling people this story, is that I really, really wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to be on stages. I wanted to get booked for speaking gigs, but no one was booking me as a speaker because they didn't know I was a speaker because I hadn't got any gigs. Basically what I did was go to a studio and I pretended to speak in front of a crowd, got a photographer to take pictures of me speaking, and then I put it on social media and said I was available to be booked as a speaker and that I was a speaker. And that is how my speaking career started.
This one's actually fascinating because she didn't lie about being able to speak. She just built the image first. One well-shot photo can completely change how people see you, and it's a little uncomfortable to admit how much presentation matters here, more than most of us probably want to admit.
The next thing I did, which to me isn't really that unhinged, but everyone's always like, I don't get how you do that, is that I post 3 times a day on social media. It has its peaks and troughs. Like at the minute, I'm super, super busy, so I'm just trying to post at least once a day. But when I am really trying to see a surge in growth, I do 3 times a day.
3 times a day is a lot, but it tells you she's hungry. Nobody keeps that pace unless they're serious about it.
And the next one is follow-ups. When I first started my business, I reached out to 200 people and I would follow up with people sometimes 20 times until I got a no. And that is how I signed my first few clients. I'm literally the CEO of pestering people until I get a response, and it works 9 times out of 10. My philosophy is that you're not just going to get things handed to you, so you need to go out and get them yourself, and you sometimes need to be creative about how you do that.
If it actually works 9 times out of 10, then looking a little crazy is worth it. Most of us stop following up because we're scared of being annoying. She doesn't seem to have that fear at all. Her whole approach is basically, I'm not leaving until I get a yes or an actual no. And closed mouths really don't get fed.
The reason why I'm very successful in life is because I'm a fucking mobster. I'm a mobster. I will fucking smile at you. I will tee-hee ha-ha at you. And I will fucking be ruthless, especially in a man's world. First of all, this is how I do business. I always have a ring on, okay? Whatever ring. Could be fake, could be real, doesn't fucking matter. And I always tell them that my husband is a fucking lawyer. I don't have a fucking husband. I don't need a fucking man. They don't need to fucking know it. Do you understand?
It's actually funny, because this is the second woman in a row doing something similar. She doesn't need a man, but she's using the illusion of one. The last woman used her boyfriend's email. This one wears a ring and says her husband's a lawyer. Both of them clearly know people treat them differently in business, so instead of pretending that bias isn't there, they're just working around it.
Do you understand? Okay? You always tell them what it is that you expect. You don't smile, you look straight at them. Okay? You don't negotiate, you tell. I'm gonna get what I want, how I want it.
I'm curious what she actually means by ruthless, because I don't think she means cruel. I think she means refusing to make herself smaller, refusing to apologize for taking up space before anyone's even asked her to.
They often try to underestimate women. No, you don't ask, you tell. Period. You wait for them, you always leave silence. You must always be comfortable with silence. Silence and space. You gotta be comfortable.
This connects to the last clip too. One woman is comfortable following up 20 times. This one is comfortable sitting in total silence. Both of those are uncomfortable for most people, especially women, who get taught to soften requests and fill every awkward gap with words. She's saying the opposite. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let people sit in it. Confidence isn't always talking. Sometimes it's saying exactly what you want and then just waiting.
Here are some unhinged things I've done to be successful at a young age as someone who last year was working in the fashion industry on 30k a year to now working for myself, making multiple 5-figure months. Number one, developing an insane amount of audacity. I'd been making content for about a year. I'd been basically promoting a platform that I used every single day for free, but they weren't replying to a single email. So not only did I reach out to someone else to help me get a reply, but I also sent an email saying, if I don't get an affiliate partnership with you, I will move my investment somewhere else. Yes, that sounds extremely insane. I probably wouldn't do that now. It's very impolite, but it did work.
She calls this impolite, but I don't really see the problem. If she'd already been trying to reach them and they only responded once there was something at stake, that tells you they were comfortable ignoring her until it cost them something. She wasn't rude. She just stopped asking from a place of desperation.
Number two, I moved out of my parents' home even though I could have saved about 12 or 15 grand in rent a year just so that I could be more on brand and more true to my content. That is how much this means to me. I was so sick of people saying that my perspective on personal finance wasn't valid because I lived at home, so I almost did it to prove those people wrong. And now that I increased my income and increased my skill set and confidence, I'm able to make so much more and able to save more while renting. So while living at home definitely gave me that privilege and starting point, I honestly feel that moving out was one of the best decisions I made, but I ultimately made it for content.
This actually reminds me of the office space story. Money being spent to make room for growth before the growth has technically arrived. One rented a bigger office. This one changed her whole environment. They're both building for the version of the business they want, not just the one they currently have.
Number three, before I left my 9 to 5, I completely rebranded my LinkedIn and my socials to look more professional and to look like I was a founder or CEO. And technically I was because I did open a limited company. Some people would see that as extremely cringe, but I think it's a bit unhinged because it's almost like a fake it till you make it mindset. Yes, I had evidence of success and credentials to actually back it up, but at the same point, I did those things before I was ready to do so. I distinctly remember writing in my bio that I do talks at universities before I'd done one. And I ultimately feel that that's what led me to get speaking gigs or to do a TEDx talk.
There it is again. Optics. That's the second time now, once with the speaker photos, now with the LinkedIn rebrand. She wanted speaking opportunities, so she made herself look like someone who already had them. It's almost like credibility has two parts, actually being capable and making sure people can see it. Unfortunately, if people can't picture you doing the thing, they usually won't hand you the chance to do it.
Number four, I did podcasts just to practice speaking on a podcast. I know that sounds really unhinged or like unfair on the people that I did those podcasts with, but I actually think they were a massive success. But I went into those completely terrified because I'd never done a podcast or anything long form. The key is I did this as practice so that when I went on a more recognizable podcast, I'd put those reps in because most people would just never feel ready to go on one if you've never been on one before. I simply dived in the deep end.
This one just makes sense. She didn't wait for the big opportunity to start practicing. She practiced first, so when the real one showed up, she wasn't starting from zero.
Number five is I was transparent with money online, which is very unhinged because sharing what you make, spent, and what you earn from different side hustles and stuff, it can feel very daunting and unnatural. Naturally, for most people, I think money should be private. As a creator, I feel like it gave me a competitive edge because so few people are actually willing to be that level of transparent. The point isn't the money transparency, it's more how I spoke and how I was authentic and just said what I meant. If you're anything like me and you are ambitious, I do think you need a level of delusion and audacity in order to make your dreams come true.
Sharing your income online is a real risk. People will call it bragging. People won't believe it. But none of these women seem interested in blending in. They all seem willing to look a little crazy if it gives them an edge. Okay, So now we've got optics, audacity, and being willing to look a little crazy. Let's see if the next woman says something completely different, or if she accidentally says the same thing again.
Best advice I can give to any woman that is building out her own $1 million career and brand is to stop dating men. Just stop. Just go cold turkey. No dating and no intimacy.
This is probably the 5th or 6th successful woman I've come across saying some version of this. I'm not including every clip that says it, but it's not a one-off opinion at this point. It's a pattern.
When I took this vow for myself for 2 years, I was like, I'm not going to date anybody. I'm going to get super laser focused and locked in because men can be extremely draining. They are known to be energy vampires. And if they're not making your life better, they're actually just wasting your life. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stop dating. And in those 2 years, I was so laser focused on my business that I built a multi-million-dollar company.
I don't think she's saying men are the problem. I think she's saying relationships take real work, healthy ones especially. The checking in, the showing up, the energy. If you're trying to build something out of nothing, it makes sense why some people choose to put that on pause for a while. Honestly, I can't really imagine dating in the middle of building something either. All my focus is already somewhere else.
It's about to hit $5 million very soon, which is insane. I got the house of my dreams, the car of my dreams, the life I've always wanted, and I did it so quickly because I didn't have my energy leaking into other things, into problems, into an emotional roller coaster that in my 20s men would always put me on because I was such a lover girl. I would invest all my focus and time into the relationship I was in.
And when people fall in love, the relationship naturally becomes the priority. That's not even a criticism. That's just what happens. So, if the biggest goal right now is the business, I get why she chose to delay the other thing on purpose instead of trying to do both halfway.
So now that I've built my stability and my self-confidence, now I'm dating and now it's so much easier because I don't go around anybody who would dare waste my time, right? Only around somebody who allows me to be myself, allows me to focus on my goals and doesn't deter me from it and doesn't put me on an emotional roller coaster.
And it makes sense that dating got easier for her after she built the business, not before. She's probably with someone now who actually understands the level of work it took to get there, instead of someone at the stage she used to be at who wouldn't have gotten it at all. That's a very different relationship to be in.
And when I was in my 20s, I didn't know how important that was, right? Because in our 20s, we're like boy crazy. We're told that our main goal is to have kids and get married. And I was like, fuck that. I want to be a millionaire instead.
Interesting. So now we're not talking about confidence anymore. We're talking about attention, where your attention goes. Let's see if that comes up again.
These are 5 things that I've sacrificed in my life to make $30,000 a month and become rich. And these are just mine. You don't have to agree with them, but this is what I had to do to start really seeing the money come in every month. Number 1, I prioritize my business over fitness. And I know you guys probably aren't going to like that answer, but in the beginning stages, when I would wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, the first thing I would do was go to my business. My business, I ate, slept, drank, breathed, nightmares, everything was my business. And I put aside going to work out because I prioritized eating healthy so that I could cut out the gym because the gym was too much time, and I wanted to give all my time to my brand and to building what I had.
Same idea as the dating clip, just about time instead of relationships. Protect your time, and you protect your ability to actually build something with it.
Number 2, and a lot of people aren't gonna like this either, relationships was a no. Absolute no. I prioritized me, myself, and my business before anything, and relationships in the beginning just wasn't gonna cut it. I did not have time to date. I did not have time to see anyone. I did not have time to have anyone sleep over because I would literally be editing until 3 o'clock in the morning. And honestly, men are a distraction. If you want my honest opinion, men are distractions and they will get you off your game. Like, if they do something that upsets you, you're not thinking about what you need to be thinking about. If they don't show up and they let you down, your energy's low. Like, in the beginning, I think I went on a couple dates and they didn't go that well. And my energy for like 3 or 4 days was shot. And I was like, yeah, I can't do relationships while I'm trying to build my brand. It was one or the other, so I gave up relationships for many years.
Try studying for an exam with a broken heart. It's genuinely hard to focus on anything when your world's being rocked. So this tracks with what the last 2 women were already saying.
And number 3, I gave up a lot of friendships that were no longer serving me. So, friends that were only using me for what I had or not bettering me in any way, yeah, they had to go. I just had to let go of a lot of dead weight because dead weight will always bring you down. And I needed to be around people that brought me up because I truly believe you are who you hang out with.
Friendships can slow you down the same way relationships can, especially the ones that only take. It sounds harsh, but it's really the same resource question as everything else in this video. Where is your time actually going?
Number 4, I gave up going out and I gave up drinking. So those are kind of like go hand in hand. So I gave up both of them. I stopped going to the club because I wanted to make sure I could get up early to work and run my business. So I had to go to bed earlier, which meant no more clubbing. And then I also gave up alcohol. I did not have time to be hungover or time to feel like shit because we had to work every single day to build what we were building. And those two things just were not aligning with what I wanted. So I completely gave up going to the club and drinking alcohol. I still, even after making it, I still don't drink alcohol. It's just more of like a focus thing, and I would like to be sharp and on top of my shit when it comes to my business. So I still no longer drink or party, like even after making it. It's just not for me.
Less time recovering from a night out is more time doing the thing that actually sharpens you. Not a huge leap, but worth saying.
Number 5, this was a hard one in the beginning. I think my parents understand now, but it was giving up a lot of time with my family. I used to work nights, weekends, holidays, games, like anything. I was constantly working. I live thousands of miles away from my family. I had to move out of my very small town to go to a big city because I believe you are who you hang out with and your environment shapes you. So I did have to leave my family and I sacrificed living next to them for a better life. And unfortunately, when the work got very, very busy, I was giving up also nights, weekends, and holidays. So there were many holidays that came and went that I did not get to see my family because I was working and building. And I knew that in order to go and see them, I was going to have to be able to make my own money passively, not clocking in, so that I could fly to them whenever I wanted. So unfortunately, for some years, that just meant I wasn't able to come home for Thanksgiving or Christmas because of that.
And the family sacrifice is the one that actually lands differently. Because you can tell it wasn't easy for her either. But she mentions having a plan to eventually make money passively, and that's the part that matters. The sacrifice only makes sense if there's an actual exit built into it, not just endless work with no plan to stop.
I win in life because I don't play fair. I exploit the rules with integrity, but I exploit the rules and I don't follow them. Only losers follow the rules in the way that it's supposed to be done, and the smartest, most successful people I know exploit their value proposition.
I think this is what she means by exploiting the rules with integrity. She's not talking about cheating anyone. The boyfriend's email, the fake speaker photos, moving out for the brand, none of those actually broke a rule. They just challenged an assumption everybody else was following without questioning.
The CEO of Spanx would go into Nordstrom's and Macy's and big box department stores and put her Spanx on the floor, her product on the floor, even though technically these wholesalers didn't actually purchase from her, because she doesn't play fair. Losers play fair. Learn to exploit the rules in your favor. That's the only way you're going to be successful. If you're doing what everyone else does, you're going to have the results that everyone else does.
This isn't even the first clip saying some version of this. It's just the clearest one. If the rules are already working against you before you've done anything wrong, maybe the honest move isn't to play by them perfectly. It's to find where they bend.
And I don't care what these girls tell y'all. When it comes to getting money as a woman, building empires, building your own business, building something from the ground up, that is not feminine at all. You actually have to channel your masculine energy and have that dog in you, period, point blank. Like,
there's the pattern again. Ruthless, comfortable with silence. Now this. It's starting to feel like the real skill isn't gender-coded at all. It's just refusing to shrink.
a lot of people try to get on here and make it seem like, oh, you can be so soft, you can be so, you can still rest in your feminine energy. Actually, you really can't, because when you are trying to break through different barriers and different levels, especially as a woman, nothing about that is feminine. You have to put your foot down. You have to let people know, I'm here in the room and I am not to be effed with.
Same thing the last few women were circling, just said more directly. Know your value and don't apologize your way out of asking for it.
So yes, you're going to have to channel some masculine energy, and that doesn't mean that you're any less of a woman. that just means that you're serious about your shit. And that's what it takes if you want to be great. I think a lot of people get lost in the sauce and forget, like, you can either be average and mediocre, or if you're a woman who wants to be great, you gotta have tunnel vision and actually channel some of that masculine energy to really get you to the top with the top dogs for real. Like, that's just how it is.
And the tunnel vision word is interesting because it's the same trait we've been hearing about this whole video, just renamed each time. Protecting time, being willing to look a little crazy. Now tunnel vision. Different women, different language, same underlying move.
Every successful woman that I know is incredibly ruthless when it comes to letting people go and becoming an architect, basically. Not Barbara the Builder, but an architect of the life that she wants. And so what I have noticed is the traits that make you a woman that really has the life that you want to have. You have to be ruthless. You cannot be like nice, all right? Like you can be kind, but you have to have boundaries.
I think she's actually drawing a line between nice and kind here. Nice is performing, saying yes when you mean no, managing how you're perceived. Kind is something else. It can hold a boundary and still be fair.
One thing that I follow personally, and I consider myself ruthless, by the way, but one thing that I do that I truly think has helped me in my life is that once I know you will no longer be in my life, it's like you're dead to me. I cut you off. I never explain myself because you're not going to be in my life. I have noticed that really successful women, or at least the women that I hope to emulate and I take lessons from, whether I know them or not, they are freaking ruthless. They don't mind having that reputation either, because I think people come correct around them. Like, people really do come correct. People do not say certain things around them. People do not try them in a certain way.
And I think what she's really describing isn't cruelty. It's refusing to sit around waiting to be taken advantage of. Somewhere along the way, you have to choose between being liked and being respected. If being difficult is what earns the respect, she's saying,
I used to sit
so
in
be
front
it.
of my boss, and everybody thought that was so unfortunate because she could see my screen, and that was like the beginnings of online shopping. Net-a-Porter was our client, and we all had a discount, so everyone would sit on Net-a-Porter all day, except me, because my boss sat behind me, and they were like, what a nightmare. And I was like, no, not a nightmare at all. Whatever she says when she's on her sales calls, I would write down, and I would use them later on my sales calls.
Where most people would have just seen a bad seating arrangement, she saw access. That's the difference. It's not that opportunity showed up for her. It's that she was looking for it in a spot everyone else had written off as a nightmare.
Now, was she my mentor? No, she was my boss. But I used her as such because I would learn from her. I'd take, I even copied her outfits, I would do the whole thing. And so for me, she was really formative. But I don't think that you should walk around looking for a mentor. I think you have to walk around asking questions, because anyone who's going to be a good mentor probably doesn't have time to mentor you, first. Secondly, depending who you are and what your exposure is, you're not going to have the right people around you to get mentored. So you've just got to be super inquisitive. And I think it's really important to take where you are and figure out who is around you and where can you get that type of mentorship from.
And I think that's really the whole clip. You don't need someone to officially agree to mentor you. You just need to be paying enough attention to whoever's already around you.
The only reason people are more successful than you is because they execute faster than you. I've had the opportunity to work with some incredibly successful entrepreneurs, and I would ask myself, what makes them more successful than me? And all I realized was that they have executed faster than I do. Their time from idea to execution is very, very slim. And because they've been able to then execute more, they've learned more. And each time they collect those learnings, they compound, they apply them to the next thing, and they rack up success left and right. So if you and I can just figure out a way to execute faster, to minimize the time between idea and execution, we can be just as successful.
This is probably why "just start" gets repeated so much and still sounds like a cliche until you actually watch someone live it out. It's not that the first attempt is supposed to be good. It's that the first attempt is the only way you get real information. Waiting for the perfect version means you never actually start collecting it.
I'm 64, so I'm speaking from experience. Stop over-explaining yourself. Every time you explain yourself, you hand over your power like a receipt, as if your worth has to be proven. You've been conditioned to over-explain and overextend, to soften your nose, to justify your yeses, to make sure everyone else feels comfortable before you consider your own peace. The most radical thing you can do as a woman is to choose yourself without a speech, without justification, and without feeling like you owe anyone an apology.
This is basically what the monster clip was saying, just from someone with a lot more life behind it and with a different tone.
I will always succeed because I am literally fucking insane. And I do not allow myself to even consider the option of not succeeding. And you should do the same. You should be fucking crazy and relentless in the pursuit of your dreams, and you'll succeed that way. Like, you just have to be fucking crazy. It works.
I think that's actually the whole video in one clip. Not perfecting things before you put them out. Not worrying about looking crazy in front of people who aren't building anything themselves. Laser focused, relentless. Not taking no as the final answer. Not pivoting the goal even when you're pivoting the strategy underneath it. That's the thread running through every single woman in this video. She just said it out loud instead of showing it to us in a story. I kept expecting somebody to reveal some completely different secret. But they didn't. They just kept describing the same handful of behaviors from different angles. Whether you agree with every tactic or not, I don't think that's actually the interesting part. The interesting part is that women from completely different backgrounds kept arriving at almost the exact same conclusions.